Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And exciting news as the Springbok have confirmed their June fixtures as well as the Rugby Championship fixtures, which will see New Zealand playing on South African soil for the first time since 2018. 4 years we've had to wait to see New Zealand back in South Africa, but we will finally have action back into the country with fans, hopefully, and hopefully by the time we get there, we'll be able to sort of almost fill up stadiums and really be able to kind of get back to some sort of normality, which would be really, really cool. But before we look at the fixtures, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Now, we kind of knew, but it hadn't ever been confirmed, that Wales was supposed to be coming down here for the incoming tour. That has now been officially confirmed. Saturday the 2nd of July, 9th of July, and the 16th of July, we'll see the Springboks taking on the Wales at Loftus, Toyota Stadium in Bloemfontein, and the DHL Stadium in Cape Town. So Pretoria, Bloemfontein, and Cape Town are the venues for the incoming tour. We then kick off, how's this? We then kick off the Rugby Championship fixtures with 2 back-to-back tests against New Zealand in South Africa. So last year, we had to go overseas and play at all the games in Australia. This time we will have back-to-back fixtures against New Zealand. As a result, New Zealand's current sort of restrictions, stuff like that, which don't allow teams to just sort of pop in, play a game, and pop out. So as a result, we are playing 2 games against New Zealand in South Africa. The first will be at the Mbombela Stadium in Nelspruit, which would be a pretty historic occasion for a test of that sort of magnitude to be held in in Nelspruit. And that will take place on the 6th of August. Then on Saturday, the 13th of August, the Springboks will take on New Zealand at Emirates Airline Park. That is the fixture you really want to be at. That's the fixture you want to sort of target, because that is basically the Springboks' home ground. That is where we have had some of our biggest test victories. We obviously won a World Cup at Emirates Airline Park. Altitude, we beat New Zealand there before a couple of years ago with that dramatic Pat Lambie penalty. That is on the 13th of August. Then there will be a week break. And then we are scheduled to take on Australia on the 23rd of August, the 27th of August and the 3rd of September. Now, those venues have not been confirmed yet, and I imagine it'll be because we don't know what the situation will be with COVID restrictions and travel restrictions, and whether we'll be able to go to Australia for one game and then come back for the next game and that sort of thing. So that could very well hopefully be a home and away game. Now, the only sort of normality within these fixtures for the Rugby Championship are the Argentina fixtures, where we will be over in Argentina on the 17th of September before we will close. Our final home game for the year will be at Kings Park down in Durban on the 24th of September when we take on Argentina. So it's going to be a very good year, I think. Wales are going to provide a decent challenge for the Boks. They got outplayed by Ireland this weekend, but are missing a lot of injuries, and they're a side which they've almost become a bit of a bogey side for the Springboks. Not in terms of actually beating the Springboks, because we have tended to beat them more often than not. But it never seems to be an easy game against Wales. They're a side which characteristics are very similar to the Springboks in terms of the way they're very forwards dominated, very tactical, very defense orientated. And I think that should be a nice test for us in the incoming series. Now, incoming series is traditionally where we start to see new players coming through. If we look at the last sort of 12 years since the previous British and Irish Lions tour, in terms of when the most players make their debuts, it's usually during the incoming tour. That is historically when all the new sort of talent has come through. It's not the outgoing tour at all, actually, which ironically has actually been the occasion where Springboks have handed up the least amount of debuts. So that should be interesting, in terms of July, in terms of whether we stick with that. Are we going to see new debutants in that sort of July series, especially if you can go 2-0 up against Wales and you've named a squad that's quite wide, and you can then start bringing in players for their debuts in that final test. And then be ready to then go straight into the Rugby Championship. And I can't actually remember the last time that we actually started a game against New Zealand. We always seem to start against Argentina, and New Zealand and Australia always seem to start against each other. So by the time we get to that New Zealand test, it's very much, this is now often, playing for the Rugby Championship. Whereas we're going to have 2 back-to-back New Zealand tests as the first 2 fixtures for us in the Rugby Championship. So, for example, you were to win both of those, then suddenly you are, in prime position to win the Rugby Championship. You lose both of those, and the Rugby Championship could be gone before we even, settle in. So it'll be quite cool as a different sort of, vibe to it, and a different sort of approach. The fact that we are playing New Zealand so early in the tournament, which I think is going to be a fantastic differential. And then obviously we then have the outgoing tour. We're playing France, we're playing England. I think we're playing Ireland, or I think Scotland, or one of those. And the England test does fall outside the official test window. So it will be a very new look Springbok side potentially if we can't come to an agreement with clubs to be able to have those players for that final game. But let me know what you think of the Springbok fixtures that are coming up. Let me know what you think of the season. Do we stand a chance in the Rugby Championship? How do you feel about taking on Wales? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.